In the world's last remaining city after a devastating war lives a witch named Alys, known for granting any wish for a price. The church, however, condemns her heretical ways and sentences her to death. They plan a public hanging to make an example of her, but the priestess forgets that a witch's greatest power is her magic. Executing her proves difficult. Alys uses her magic to cast a terrifying illusion on a church soldier, causing him to shoot the rope and free her. When she runs towards him, he shoots again. He accidentally shoots his own comrade instead. Confused, the soldier collapses and is executed by the priestess with a dagger. Declaring him unworthy, she orders the remaining soldiers to hunt Alys down, but the witch eliminates them one by one. Finally, Alys ambushes the priestess, forcing her onto the execution platform. Then, Alys walks away. Meanwhile, a hunter named Boyce is heading into the city. He knowingly walks into a bandit ambush. Unfazed, Boyce confidently announces he's aware of their entire plan. As the bandits surround him, one reaches for a weapon, only to find two snakes coiled around it. He's bitten, and the remaining bandits are quickly dispatched by Boyce's expert marksmanship. With the threat eliminated, Boyce proudly retrieves his two snakes. Elsewhere, Alys gives a coin to a blind beggar. She is startled when the beggar thanks her by name. The old woman explains she remembers the witch's kindness, a rare thing in these times. However, she is surprised that Alys' voice hasn't aged at all over decades, even though the beggar is younger. Soon after, Alys receives a knight named Alys, but she already knows he is not her true client. The real customer is the queen, disguised under a cloak. The queen asks to speak with Alys alone. Alys objects, warning of the danger. But he dare not defy his queen. Once the knights leave, the queen reveals she knows Alys is from the Lost Lands, a cursed place. The land is filled with terrifying, unnatural creatures. The queen wants to learn the secret of shapeshifting, as she desires to become a wolf. Alys warns of unforeseen consequences, but the queen dismisses her concerns. Alys accepts the payment, as she has never refused a request. Her plan is to send a hunter to the Lost Lands to capture a shapeshifter and steal its power. She asks the queen to wait for the next full moon, which is in 6 days. After they agree, the knight, Alys, returns to the witch's hideout. This time, he makes his own offer, presenting Alys with a valuable family pocket watch. Alys requests that Alys fail the queen's mission and not give her the power to shapeshift. He swears he is loyal, doing this only to protect the queen. The witch refuses, sensing his jealousy. However, she keeps the watch, repeating that she never refuses a request. Alone, Alys levitates as visions flood her mind. She sees a terrifying cave filled with skulls, where a group of brave hunters cautiously approach a monster within. A horrifying werewolf emerges from the shadows. Before the vision ends, the beast lunges at the hunters with a ferocious roar. At the palace, the queen grows impatient with the king's weakness. She calls for her servants to attend to him. She sneaks out to say goodbye to her lover, Boyce, as he is about to leave. Soldiers intercept and try to arrest him, but Boyce cleverly spits his drink into a soldier's torch, causing chaos. He easily dispatches them. Later, Alys approaches Boyce in a bar, saying she needs a skilled hunter to guide her to the Lost Lands. Boyce explains that the law doesn't apply there. He doubts she can survive the mission, but Alys shows no fear. She tells him that if she ever becomes a burden, he is free to leave her behind. Likewise, she won't hesitate to do the same if he holds her back. Hearing the mission's details, Boyce recalls tales of a werewolf that haunts a place called Skellin River. Alys offers jailers watchers payment to travel there. Just as they agree, church soldiers, still hunting the witch, raid the bar. Boyce helps Alys escape. Unfortunately, his twin snakes are killed by the priestess's blade. News of another failure to capture the witch reaches the patriarch. He announces a reward for her capture. However, seized leaflets show Alys has become a symbol of resistance, inspiring people to fight back each time she escapes. Even in her latest escape, Alys spared the priestess's life, prompting the church to intensify its hunt. Even the blind beggar who received Alys' coin is arrested, under pressure. The blind woman reveals the queen recently visited the witch, information that immediately piques the patriarch's interest. He orders the priestess to get a confession from the witch and then kill her. Meanwhile, Boyce and Alys begin their journey to the Lost Lands. Their first stop is a trading post, where Boyce introduces Alys to his friend Ross and Ross's sister, Mira. Though Mira initially greets Boyce with a shotgun, it's clear they share a deep, complicated relationship. During dinner, Alys states they must reach their destination before the full moon, as she needs to capture her target in its wolf form. Boyce thinks the timeline is too tight, suggesting the only possible route is a shortcut along a mountain railway. That night, after Boyce and Mira share a moment reminiscing, he and Alys depart at dawn. He warns her that from this point on, there is no friendship or safety. Unbeknownst to them, the priestess is also traveling by train to hunt them down. When the queen learns of this, she confronts the patriarch, arguing his soldiers should be protecting the city. The patriarch retorts that rumors of the queen's affair, true or not, could severely impact public opinion. He becomes certain the queen will not side with the church and begins to plan for the day the king dies. When the train arrives at the trading post, When the train reaches the trading post, Ross and Mira are forced to reveal everything they know. Mira can't bear to see her brother being beaten by the soldiers, despite trying her best to resist. But when a soldier brings out a hot iron, Mira screams and confesses the witch is heading for Skellin River. Even with the information, the priestess orders her soldiers to burn everything down. There are now only 3 days left until the full moon. Boyce and Alys arrive at a station called the Rift. They call out for a man named Cyrus, who operates the cable car across the chasm. Getting no reply, they enter through a side door and find their way through a dark, filthy corridor. They discover Cyrus's body and realize the priestess has been there first. Returning outside, they find the priestess and her soldiers waiting, all wearing sunglasses to avoid Alys' mind control gaze. The priestess offers Boyce a large reward if he hands over the witch without a fight. Boyce replies that Alys hired him first. Suddenly, he sees Mira's body hanging on a wall. Enraged, he listens as Mira uses her last breath to call his name before the priestess shoots her dead before his eyes. This unleashes Boyce's fury, and he opens fire on the soldiers. Alys proves she doesn't need magic to fight, and they take down soldier after soldier. More soldiers arrive with weapons, but Boyce and Alys hold their ground until only the priestess remains. Confident her men will shield her, she stands firm. Just then, Alys spots a cannon aimed at them. Just in time, they dodge the blast, jump onto the cable car, and shoot the mechanism to get it moving. Some soldiers manage to climb onto the cable car. One gets on the roof and fires through it, forcing Alys to climb up and fight him. Seeing the witch has the upper hand, the priestess orders the rope to be cut. As the first rope is released, the car tilts precariously. She then shoots the second rope, sending the car swinging into the cliff face. Alys yells to Boyce that their only chance is to climb. Already outside, Alys climbs up easily, but Boyce is still inside the dangling car. At the last second, he leaps and grabs the cliff edge just as the rope snaps. Undeterred, the priestess fires from across the chasm, hitting Boyce in the shoulder. But as she aims again, she accidentally makes eye contact with the witch, and the split second of confusion is all it takes to break her concentration. Boyce pulls the bullet from his own shoulder, and Alys stitches the wound. He remarks that she is very much like him, something he felt the first time they met. Back at the palace, the queen learns she is pregnant and whispers to her paralyzed husband that the child belongs to a commoner named Boyce. She then smothers the king with a pillow. With 2 days until the full moon, Boyce and Alys reach a deserted military zone called Shadow's Bane. Hearing an approaching train, they hide in the ruins of a power station. Boyce warns Alys that something lives here. The creature's only fear is fire, so they must keep their flame alive all night. Soon, the lights flicker, and hideous creatures emerge from the shadows, snarling at them. Boyce quickly makes a ring of fire for protection, but one of the monsters bravely leaps through the flames. It lunges at Boyce, its claws gouging the floor. It then attacks Alys, and a fierce battle begins. Boyce shoves the creature against a pipe, but it seems unfazed. Alys then throws her sickle at a fuel tank, causing a massive explosion. The blast attracts more creatures from above, who leap down to attack. Their leader mistakenly speaks the witch's name. This is a fatal error. It confronts Alys directly, and she instantly hypnotizes it, forcing it to walk backward as she unleashes a wave of fire, incinerating all her enemies. Exhausted, she collapses into Boyce's arms. Alys admits she knew the leader of those creatures from long ago. She explains that a priceless treasure is hidden here, one that grants immense power. A man once hired her to find it, and she agreed. As she never refuses a request, the outcome was tragic. The man she was hired by became the very monster she just killed. On the final morning before the full moon, the patriarch announces to the public that the king is dead and the queen is pregnant. He calls on the people to celebrate the next king, but the crowd is silent. The patriarch exchanges a worried glance with Alys. Alys then orders the royal guards to turn their weapons on the people. Forced, the crowd feigns celebration. The queen reluctantly thanks the patriarch. The patriarch congratulates her in return, but he is secretly plotting against her. He speaks with the priestess, urging her to hurry, as the witch's confession is now the only key to overthrowing the queen. Meanwhile, Boyce and Alys reach Field's Rest. It's their last stop before Skellen River. Alys says she must face the wolf alone and hands Boyce the watch as payment. He disagrees, saying she won't survive without him, and refuses to let her go alone. Boyce tries to convince her to abandon the mission, but Alys insists she has no other choice. Elsewhere, the Queen tells Alys that only the Patriarch can remove her from power. Alys tries to reassure her that the royal guards are stronger than the Church's army. Unconvinced, the Queen begins to seduce him, asking if he would truly do anything for her. Their conversation ends with a kiss. Back in a tunnel, Boyce and Alys feel the vibrations of an approaching train. Boyce says they can't possibly outrun it. But Alys has a plan. The priestess is stunned to see the witch standing on the tracks, waiting for the train without flinching. As it nears, Alys runs toward the tunnel exit. The priestess pushes the train to full speed, realizing too late that she's fallen into a trap. As the train exits the tunnel, the tracks ahead are gone, leading into a deep ravine. Boyce grabs Alys just in time. They are unable to save the train's passengers as it plunges off the cliff and explodes. At the palace, the Patriarch hears the priestess's final scream and knows his plan has failed. Enraged, he decides to seize the throne by force. He orders his soldiers to take control, but no one moves. The men around him fall, revealing Alys behind them. Alys accuses the Patriarch of treason, declaring the penalty is death, and executes him on the spot. Arriving at Skellen River, Alys is stunned by the piles of bones scattered everywhere. Boyce says it's the fate of all who dare to face the werewolf. For now, there's no sign of the beast, but Alys is confident it will appear. Boyce again tries to convince Alys to abandon her mission, just as Alys tries to persuade the Queen to abandon her plan. Both fail. As the full moon rises, Alys admits she's known all along that the werewolf is Boyce. He begins a painful transformation, swearing he tried to warn her. This time, the change is more agonizing than ever. An object embedded beneath his skin secretes a silver liquid, but he completes the transformation. He lunges at Alys, but their eye contact puts him under her spell. Boyce sees a vision of crows forming into a single black bird. The two beasts clash, and the werewolf is struck by the witch's claws. The witch's claws strike a heavy blow. In the heat of battle, Alys strikes Boyce so hard he collapses, seemingly lifeless, just as clouds cover the moon. Boyce's body reverts to human form. Alys approaches him gently, telling him to rest. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself in chains. The witch then reveals a secret. When the priestess shot him, Alys secretly embedded a silver coin in his shoulder while stitching the wound. She knew it was the only way to weaken him. Now, Alys must fulfill her pact with the Queen by taking the werewolf's power from him. As she is about to act, Boyce makes a request. He asks her to stay by his side as his life partner. The witch smiles and says she never refuses a request, but warns the price may be more than he can bear. As the full moon reappears, Boyce begins to transform again. At that moment, Alys stabs him with her dagger, covers his body with stones, and places the watch on top as payment for his journey. She returns to the city, her arrival sparking a rebellion among the working class. Alys delivers the wolf pelt to Alys, instructing that the Queen must add a drop of her own blood and wear it before dawn. Alys asks for his watch back,
arguing that by fulfilling the Queen's request, Alys denied his.
But Alys retorts that the Queen was pregnant with a man named Boyce's child.
And now, Boyce is dead.
She firmly states that she has given Alys what he truly desired. The Queen is heartbroken to learn of Boyce's death, admitting she wanted to become a wolf to live with him forever.
Alys comforts her, saying he would still do anything for her, but the Queen erupts in a rage, telling him to die along with Boyce.
She grabs a hairpin and mercilessly stabs him in the neck. At that moment, citizens storm the palace, forcing the Queen to flee for her life.
Meanwhile, the morning sun hits the wolf pelt, causing it to burst into flames. The desires of both the Queen and Alys are turned to ash.
Back at Skellin River, the stones on Boyce's grave begin to move.
He rises, alive, and returns to the city to confront Alys, pained by her betrayal. The witch explains she only removed his wolf powers.
She never intended to kill him.
Confident he would survive, she proves it by predicting that when he tries to shoot her, his gun will jam. He pulls the trigger, and it does. Alys draws her dagger, as does Boyce. They press the blades to each other's throats.
The tension peaks and then breaks with laughter.
They lower their weapons, forgive one another, and begin a new relationship. At last, Boyce's request has been granted, and that is the end of the film. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.